Okay, that's recording. I'll move my mouse out of the way. So I don't use these. I use this for calligraphy, but they have a variety of tips that will give you different marks. So if again, don't like fully shake these things up, but you do want to make sure that it hasn't separated. To get this out of this ink, right? You squeeze in and then you suck it up, and then it fills this thing in here from that vacuum such, and then you just come to this side and you just squeeze this in, okay? So once you squeeze that in, this only is going to last so long, right? But make sure you put the lid on all the way, okay? And this is going to give you a variety of marks, but each tip has its own characteristics. This one here is for calligraphy, okay? You can see that I'm already starting to run dry. I'd have to reload, okay? This is the traditional method of inking, okay? It's not for everyone, but you can, if you have a variety of tips, get some really nice inking, okay? Let me back up. Okay, this is a company called Deleters, okay? It comes in a variety of numbers, and you have to look and shop to see what the different numbers mean. But essentially, this is not going to bleed out with Copic markers. It's not going to bleed out with water. It's pretty darn dark. Okay, so if I open this, and I just have the top there. Okay, if I'm using this as a brush, right? I'll zoom out. Okay. Okay, this is a Winsor & Newton Series 7 brush. They come in numbers like 0001, 001, 01, and then they come in larger sizes as well. But for comics and cartoons, you usually dealing with these little fine lines, and you definitely don't need to stick the whole brush in there like I just did. But I just stick it in like it's paint, right? And I can put down massive quality of line. Okay, I can make my lines real thick. I can make them very, very thin. I can make them in hatching. Okay, this is my preferred method of inking. Okay, this to me gives you the most amount of control versus anything else. Now you do want to be mindful that if I were to leave this ink in this brush for an hour, I've just killed like a $20 brush. Okay, this brush right here is about 20 bucks. And you cannot get these right now because they're back ordered indefinitely. The company is in the United Kingdom, in Britain, and they're back ordered. I ordered a set last fall, or before the fall quarter began, and they still haven't arrived. They're still back ordered. So again, some of the best stuff for line quality. Okay, I'm just going to rinse this off. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure I dry this with a rag. Okay, but in a general sense, that Winsor & Newton brush to me is one of my favorite inking things. I have a little case that I put it in. I'm going to rewash that one more time, make sure there is no ink. Caring for this brush is really important because it's not cheap, okay? Now, I have a variety of these brushes, but I always put these little caps back on. There's no reason why I wouldn't care for it, okay? Now, this black ink, you can see just how much darker it is than the traditional Higgins ink, okay? So this Deleters ink, the number 4, is quite a bit darker, and it is permanent. Both of these are permanent. Both of them shouldn't wash out with water. If I take a little bit of water here, they should not wash out very much with water, okay? So they should be, for the most part, permanent and not, you wouldn't use them for a wash, okay? They're not used for that. Okay, getting even more old-fashioned, okay, I'll use it's just a quill, it's a bamboo quill. It's essentially a double-end stick, and it does work, okay? So you can You kind of have to soak this, but you can mark make with this quite effectively. It has it's a cheap little. It wasn't that expensive. You know, thicker marks, thinner marks. Okay, and again, you do want to wash this. You don't want your ink fully drying on here. But again, a useful tool. Okay. I'm going to put the ink away. Okay. If you are using just a Sharpie, I don't even have a double-edged Sharpie with me. This is like the thicker one. Okay, you can get variation through the size of the marker and how light and how heavy and how light you put the mark down. Now, however, this does not give you a lot of control as you're wrapping around things. The thinner one that you have on yours will give you a little bit more control, but not a huge amount, okay? But it will work for everything you need to do in this class. If this is all you have, you do have one black marker in your marker set. You can use that as well for inking. For this activity, you do not need to add color, okay? I forgot to put my end on this, and I don't want to not do that, so that's an extra little protection there. Put that back in its case. Okay, let's see here. However, let's look at the micron markers. Okay, let's look at these micron markers. Okay, again, if I were to buy any of these micron markers outside of a set, it would be the one that says BR on the end. This is your brush marker. Okay. It has a flexible tip. This is only like $2 to $3, okay? And you can get a lot more variation out of this, okay? You can also lay it down fairly thick, okay? This is not as nice as that Winsor & Newton brush, but you don't have to dip in an ink. That's the benefit of that, okay? All right. Right now, I think what I'm going to do is, because I want to give you some work time, I'm going to just go one more of the microns. Again, the microns and other similar ones are liner brushes, right? They have the size of the marker. This is a really fine one, okay? But this is really just to go back over lines. It's not really to get these really incredibly challenging angles and stuff. You can't vary the line thickness very much, and so you don't have any control over space or form. But the advantage is they're really consistent on what size that line is. That's a step up. I'll go to a larger one. The one point up. The one is, and so you get these size of markers that are very, very consistent. Great for going over line. Not good for line variation. Okay. All right, that's where I'm going to end that video because I want to move you guys into work time. Any questions on